You know, in late 2024, it looked like the entire U.S. economy was about to grind to a halt because of this massive port strike. But here's the thing. This was no spontaneous walkout. Oh no. This was a meticulously planned event, and it would end up rewriting the rules for how we think about jobs and technology in America. So let's get into it. Let's look inside this calculated crisis.
Okay, so just look at this. This is the lifeblood of our economy, right? Thousands upon thousands of containers moving every single hour. They're filled with, well, everything. The phone you're holding, the car you drive, even the food that ends up on your dinner table. Now, just for a second, imagine all of that just stops, dead in the water. What do you think happens next?
Well, here's what happens. $5 billion. That's the price tag. Just an unbelievable number.
And that's not the total cost. No, that's the estimated damage per day. Can you believe that? Every single day, another $5 billion gone. I mean, the pressure on everyone, companies, the government, you and me, was just immense. The clock was ticking, and it was ticking very, very loudly.
All right, so first up, a supply chain shuts down. Let's really dig into the immediate impact here. Because when those ports closed, the shock wave, it was felt instantly, all across the country. And this map really shows you the sheer scale of what we're talking about. This isn't just one or two ports in a couple of big cities. We're talking about 36 ports. Think about that. From Maine all the way down the East Coast and wrapping around the Gulf to Texas, they all just went silent. It was this incredible, coordinated move that basically sealed off the entire eastern half of the country from the sea.
And this wasn't some abstract thing you just read about in a business journal. This was real, and it hit the supply chains of companies you know and shop at every day. We're talking Walmart, IKEA, Samsung. The stuff you just expect to see on the shelves, it was suddenly stuck out on the ocean on massive ships with absolutely nowhere to go.
And the ripple effect, wow, it was immediate and it was severe. Think about this. Over half, 57% of all the container traffic in the U.S. just stopped. And the backlog was insane. For every one day the strike was on, it would take 4 to 6 days to clear everything out once things started moving again. That's how you get shortages of, well, everything. Electronics, cars, even household basics. And you know what that means, right? Higher prices passed right on to us, the consumer.
So let's move on to the real fight here. Because this strike, it wasn't really just about money or benefits. No, at its core, this was a battle over something much, much bigger. We're talking man versus machine. This was a fight for the future of work itself.
So you've got two sides in this core conflict. On one side, you have the union, the ILA, representing 47,000 workers. And for them, automation wasn't just a new tool, it was an existential threat. They saw it eliminating hundreds of jobs at every single facility, and they wanted a complete ban, period. But then on the other side, you've got the employers, and they're arguing that modernization, that automation, is absolutely essential. They're saying without it, U.S. ports just can't compete with the rest of the world.
And this picture, it really puts a human face on that fear, doesn't it? These aren't just numbers in a report. These are real people with real careers and families and communities who genuinely felt like they were about to be replaced by a bunch of robots.
And their slogan really cuts right to the heart of the whole thing. Machines don't have families to feed. That says it all, right? For these workers, this wasn't a business negotiation. It was a deeply personal, emotional fight for their future and the future of their kids.
But here's where it gets really interesting. This wasn't just some emotional walkout, not at all. This was a brilliantly executed move, a high-stakes chess game.
Okay, let's look at the anatomy of this calculated crisis. The master contract expires on September 30th. The very next day, bam, October 1st, the ILA launches the strike. Everything stops. The economic pain is immediate. But then, and you really have to pay attention here, after exactly 72 hours, the union suspends the strike. They just stop. So why? Why 72 hours? Why not 71 or 75? What was so special about that number?
Well, the answer lies in a piece of federal law called the Taft-Hartley Act. Basically, it gives the president the power to order an 80-day cooling-off period to end any strike that threatens the country's health or safety. And if that happened, the union's leverage would have just vanished. So their 72-hour strike was this incredibly clever tightrope walk. It was just long enough to cause absolute panic and show how much power they had, but it was just short enough to keep the president from stepping in and invoking the act. Honestly, it was a brilliant move.
So what did that brilliant maneuver do? It forced everyone back to the negotiating table, and it led to a truly landmark agreement.
Something completely new was born out of this, the new Automation Compact.
The final deal was this incredible, groundbreaking compromise. Let's break it down into 3 steps. Step 1, the employers got what they wanted. They can introduce automation, things like semi-automated cranes. Step 2, the workers got a massive win, a 62% wage increase over 6 years. But step 3, this is the truly revolutionary part. They formed a new compact. For every single new piece of automation that's brought in, the contract demands that new, high-wage union jobs have to be created alongside it.
And this new model has a name, labor-loaded automation. It's a total game changer. Think about it. Instead of technology just replacing people to save money, this system forces the benefits, the efficiency gains, from those new machines to be shared directly with the workers. It literally bakes new jobs right into the cost of the technology itself.
All right, so what does this all mean for everyone? What's the real legacy of this whole thing? Let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. There are really 4 big takeaways from this strike. First, it gives unions a totally new strategy. Instead of just trying to ban technology, they can now demand a share of its value. Second, there's a downside. This new high-cost model could actually make American ports less competitive globally. Third, it was a major policy warning. You're already hearing talk about applying stricter laws, like those for railway workers, to prevent this kind of shutdown in the future. And finally, it showed that unions on different coasts can work together, creating this huge, national-level risk that nobody had really planned for before.
So, in the end, labor peace was won. And that's a huge victory for the 47,000 workers who fought so hard for their future. But it leaves us with this one really big question to think about. At what cost? What is the price of this victory when it comes to America's place in the world?